I got a
Yeah,
question, unless you had one about colors.
no, go for it.
Speaking of blue, it reminds me like, I've got all these my personal memories and my personal feelings for colors, but I'm always curious about the culture we all live in. And so the cultural connotations about certain colors, so especially blue, with a lot of design work I do, I'm always thinking about different slices of society and especially gender. And so certain colors have been so coded to mean certain things. So like blue
Mhm.
and pink, boys and girls. And I don't know, sometimes that those, oh, do you guys have any certain like cultural annoyances when it comes to color? Like, do you think it's a good idea that blue is for boys, or is it just dumb, or is it, should we throw that out the window or what?
I mean, I think that we should throw it out the window.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think pink looks super cute on all genders, and blue looks super cute on all genders. And so I'm happy to have anyone wear anything. I don't know.
Yeah, it took me 20 plus years to realize that it's okay to like the color pink. I think I was very like, oh, I'm not girly and I like the color
Yeah.
blue, which sucks because color pink is very,
Yeah.
for a long time, it was just Barbie pink in my head, and anything near that was no good. But both pink and blue are awesome colors, and everybody should wear them, and every brand should consider them, without gender stereotypes attached.
You think, I agree. So personally, I mean, I've got tried working enough pink and brighter colors in my personal wardrobe. And very conscious of how I pick out my kids' clothes. So, I've got a boy and girl, and something I've always thought about is trying to help make things, take away some of those connotations and just, stereotypes. But I found with design work that when you're trying to reach a certain audience, sometimes I've had to use certain colors because I might have my personal feelings, but they're so coded in the big society, I can't get out of it. So something I've noticed is that there's very few colors that are masculine, if that makes sense. That as soon, like if I'm going to do a male brand, like if it's a male target audience, if this makes any sense, there's only certain, like I have a very narrow range of colors I can work within. Do you guys feel the same way, or is it different from your perspective?
I mean, I understand what you're saying, and I feel like it can be challenging, yeah, to find colors that feel more masculine, rather than like, swinging to be more feminine. And it's a hard balance to find, because, on the one hand, we're getting into stuff a lot bigger than what we were originally talking about. But on the one hand, you have your beliefs, and you don't want to perpetuate this stereotype that people now innately think pink is girl. And on the one hand, as a designer, you don't want to perpetuate that if you don't necessarily believe in it. And it starts by people like us just starting to design and use color in different ways. But on the other hand, the goal of designing for the most part is usually to sell or to share, or, to gain exposure and brand awareness and all these things. And you have a target audience in mind, and you have your paying client who wants to hit their goals. And, you have to find a balance between what you think you should do for the greater good and society versus what is immediately, what will work in the short run, I guess, which is probably to play towards those stereotypes.
Yeah. What you, Emily, did you feel that same bind or different thoughts?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I totally agree that sometimes the it's not easy to execute in practice, whether we believe boundaries should be expanded or not. But I think there's a lot of really cool examples of companies that are pushing boundaries. Like, for example, Chubbies. I think they have a really broad color palette, and a lot of their clothing is pink and bright yellow, and the color palette is definitely a lot of the times way more traditionally effeminate than it is masculine. But I think their marketing is so top notch. I mean, they have some of the funniest emails out there that they've been able to sell to the traditionally most masculine group. I mean, they sell to frat guys, for the most part. So I think there's room for expansion, even when it's a challenge.
Yeah, for sure. And sorry, I don't mean to open up a can of worms or anything. And I know for me, like it seems like not a big deal thinking about who cares about blues versus pinks, but I know it really does come back to have very big real world effects. So I know like for us, we did a big project for a domestic abuse advocacy agency, and we're helping them do with a rebrand to help broaden their reach to totally different types and sections of society. So for them, everything wore originally a lot of purples and pinks and all that. And here, their work and the advocacy of the nonprofit was for people of all genders and all expressions and orientations. But unfortunately, just because of the way it looked, there was already a barrier up. So we had to took a lot of time to think through how to use certain blues and mix it with purples so we can speak to both groups. And something you never think you'd find yourself in that situation where you're mulling over like the deeper meaning of a blue versus a pink. So sometimes these colors have, when it mixes with culture, it's real world impacts. So sorry, I didn't mean to get on a hobby horse, but yeah.
No, that's really interesting.